Yes, we're live.
Are we?
Yeah, we're live. Sorry about that, DNA.
All right.
What a nightmare, dude. What a nightmare it is getting into this every day. You know what? I would be better prepared. I know you're probably thinking like, why aren't you
Oh, there we
more
go.
prepared?
No, I don't think that at all, dude.
And I'll
I have my own shows, and every now and then I go to stream live to Facebook, and it kicks me off, or it doesn't load, or it tells me some like bullshit, and I deal with it all the time,
yeah,
man. This
yeah,
is the
dude.
internet.
It's
Normally we do a show, the PA doesn't work. You're like, no PA. I'll just start talking to the audience. But here on Zoom, if you do that, you're just talking to yourself in the room. You know what I mean? You
right,
need that
totally,
internet. You need the
totally, and that
connection.
it's the thing, man. It's like, man. Well, I had to. Okay, so I had to plan to be here by 2 and do this thing by 2. But dude, I'm getting this fucking clicking noise in my headphones. Anyway, I had planned to be here by 2. I was picking up Bobby and Salinas. Salinas is 1 hour and 40 minutes from Berkeley. And we got on the road and there's traffic and an accident. And then I needed to get gas and we went to go get gas. And then and then when we got back on the road, there was more traffic and it was
Yeah.
like, and it's like, you gotta when you leave Salinas at 12 p.m., you got to hit Oakland and the East Bay at a certain time, so you miss all the traffic. If you're 10
Yeah.
minutes, like that was the thing is I used to go leave to get Bobby and like there's certain times that if you miss a 10-minute time frame, you're gonna hit traffic, and it's weird. It's like traffic just jumps up in front of you.
Yeah. Well, I know honestly, I don't know how you do it. I mean, and not just you, but all parents. I mean, in best of times,
Right.
having the responsibility of that rug rat as it grows up, it does more
Oh,
things.
it's
You got to
fucking
get it to its thing or whatever. It's got its school.
yeah,
You got to get
yeah.
there on time. If you don't, you're a terrible
You're a
parent, and
terrible dude, the worst. That's the
I don't know
thing.
how you do. I don't know. I don't know how you balance that, man. But I think you're doing a good job.
Okay, let's hit this record button so I know to do that.
All
And
right.
then let me share the screen with you like I did last time. Advanced, and then music, share, and then I think this is the theme right here. This is our,
What's going on? Twitch, Facebook,
why isn't
big
it
day.
why isn't it why are you not working for me right now? Why are you not working?
You see the cop got convicted on all counts in Minnesota, Butch.
Oh,
It
did
just
that
happened.
happen? Did that
Yeah, it
just
just
happen right
happened.
now?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Guilty
Fucking
on all three counts, man.
America grazed a bullet right now, bro. Because
Well, yeah.
it's so would have like that was the thing is that it's so likely here in America that an open and shut case like that goes to a non-guilty verdict
Yeah, all the time.
all the time. And I mean, like, look at Meserly, the probably to me the first notorious shooting of an innocent person on camera, or the first that was so national, was the one on the BART platform here in Oakland. That that guy got 2 fucking years for shooting a kid in the back,
Yeah.
for like literally pulling a gun out of his holster and shooting a handcuffed kid in the fucking back.
Right.
And that guy got 2 years. And there's so many police cases in between where someone got off. I mean, we're still yet to see the sentencing on this motherfucker, but it sounds
Right.
like
Right.
they're
I don't
gonna
know
put.
how that shit works. They're going to appeal it, who knows, but yeah, I mean, Minneapolis is all set. Got 3,000 National Guard, and people still might the ship still might go down, but I mean, it's kind of we needed to see that, man. I hope change happens slowly, so one. Oh, it's starting.
There it is.
Oh, reset. Here we go. Break it down. Break it down. Come on. Where's my hula dance? Who's that?
Yeah, I didn't even hit it again this time.
Very Hawaiian. That's a Hawaiian. Hawaiian.
Welcome everybody to the This Isn't Working podcast. Right now we are actually just currently discussing what had just basically happened while we were started to kick it off right now. Is that um the
3,000 National Guard, and
Whoa,
people still might
Hooper.
their ship still might go down.
discussing what had
That's
just
me from the
basically
future.
happened
Okay, hold
while
on,
we were
hold on,
started to
sorry.
kick it off right now? Is
Oh
that
shit, dude, this is annoying. I hate the
I'm
sound.
about
of
to
my
meet my
own,
looper.
I hate the sound of my own voice. I fucking hate the sound of my own voice. Okay, let's put that there. Let's put that there. Okay, Jello Riley, what up, my brother? Podcast time. Let's go, boys. Yeah, justice
Hey,
might
Jello.
have actually happened this time. Weird feeling. I was expecting more rage. Now what? Yeah, that's the thing. I think in this fucking racist ass
I can tell you.
country. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, look, man, there's plenty of things to rage about. You know what I mean? And it's like, the thing that the thing that triggered me was I read this response to just how, because Maxine Waters, she's full of righteous indignation, and she basically came out and said something, and then they were trying to make him as like a jewelry tampering thing, and it would get the whole case thrown out because Maxine Waters is like, shit, if he doesn't get fucking sentenced guilty, there's gonna be riots on the street, and the people are gonna push back. And then Josh Hawley, this dipshit that's in Congress, he's like wants to censure Maxine Waters when Hawley's the guy that gave the white power fist to the supremacists at the insurrection.
Right.
So it's like, Jello, I mean, just a lot of people. Here's the thing: is since the insurrection, a lot of people have just caught Z's. You know what I mean? Biden's president. Let's just go back to sleep. But I've been following that story. I mean, when the president wants to hang the vice president, murder the Speaker of the House, and gas the chambers of the Congress and kill everybody in it, that's a story I still am following, and so just follow that story, man, because every day there's new information. And if you don't know where to get your information, because the major media is not even covering it, is I really like on Twitter, there's a guy, Seth Abramson, wrote a great book called Proof. He wrote, it's a trilogy all about Trump, and keep your eyes on the prize. And as far as like endemic racism in our military and in our police, it's like, it's there, let's root it out.
Right.
Start a local awareness group about your own police force.
Well, I think the thing is right now, man, for me is like I keep trying to tell people, like, one of my favorite interviews ever is Mark Maron and Barack Obama. And
I got you, Jello.
yeah, I know I fucked it up, but whatever. Fuck
No,
you,
no,
Joe.
not at all. He's just saying, now, I was ready to throw a brick. Now what do I do with this brick?
Right. Yeah. No. And that's the thing, man, is like going back to that where I said my favorite interview is with Barack Obama and Mark Maron. Mark Maron says you made a lot of mistakes. Like they openly made a lot of mistakes that you admit to. And he was like, how do you feel about that? And he's like, look, we live in a democracy, and nothing gets done right away in a democracy. And in a time where we have all this technology and everything, and we want immediate results, a democracy just doesn't deliver direct results. It just doesn't.
Right.
And I think that's the case here with the police brutality and issue and stuff like that, is like, we need to keep working on this. We need to keep weeding these motherfuckers out. We need to fucking stay on, on top of it. And eventually you're going to weed it out. I honestly already see change, and I don't want to say that, and be like, oh, we're changing. Good. No, I already see change though. I get pulled over. There's a camera running on my dashboard. I have this video, and I've always wanted to share it, but I'm not sure if I should. But I have this camera on my dashboard. I get pulled over. This is the first time in my life I've ever been defiant towards a police officer. This is the first time in my life that I'm actually doing something like this. The cop walks up and he's like, can I see your license and registration and all your stuff? And I'm like, it's all in the glove box. And he's like, okay, go ahead and pull it out for me. And I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm going to do that. And he's like, why not? And I was like, because we both know what happens. Like, we both know, for better or for worse, what's going on. You know, I'm gonna look at your buddy over there. He's got his hand on his gun. He's looking through my window, my passenger window. And he doesn't look none too happy that I'm being defiant. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, ticket me for all these things that I'm missing, and we'll see each other in court. And he's like, but you'll have to go to court. It's a lot of money that you're gonna be charged. And I'm like, I'm okay with it because I have my license, I have my registration, I have everything. And if I pay a minimum fine and some time in court, it's worth not getting shot by your fucking friend over there who's looking at me like he wants to kill me. So
Mhm.
like I'm good. And the guy that was initiating the stop and talking to me was actually really nice. And at first he was perplexed. And then when I said, look, I've seen enough videos where it doesn't work out for either of us. You know,
Mhm.
like I've seen videos where you're the bad guy and you kill the guy for not reaching for anything. But I've also seen the videos where you guys are, are treating a bad guy like a good guy and he pulls out something and shoots you. So for
Mhm.
both of our safety, for
Right.
the best interest for both of us, dude, write me a fucking ticket. I'll see you in court. And he's like, and I'm like, I'm gonna plead not guilty anyway. So I'm gonna have to show up for court. And like he was like, that's a pain in the butt. And he tried, he's like, he starts talking about non guilty and stuff. And I'm like, look, I'm always gonna do this. But it was a real different sign of times where I was very defiant. And man, I'm not even kidding you. 20 years ago, I would be in jail.
Mhm.
I would be in jail for some trumped up stupid charge because I refused to
Mhm.
do that. But
Mhm.
I am starting to see change, and what you're starting to see is you're starting to see guys that want to buck change but can't because there's new
Mhm.
mandates going down. There's new, and they're training guys. Well, this is how we used to do it, but now we're not doing it like this anymore. So apparently, we have to train you like this. And the trainees are
Mhm.
going to have some bravado as well, but it'll start to shrink into where it's like the next guys that they train are sensitive people. They don't have to be trained sensitivity training. And at some
Mhm.
point, I feel like if we keep going down this road and we keep trying to repair this situation, we eventually will. Because
Yeah.
there's no more of a choice for it anymore.
But
There's
it's like, if it's like if America was a person, well, if the police, if the entire police corp of America was a person, it's like riddled with cancer. And so it
riddled.
needs to die. I mean, more than you keep cutting out these like abscesses or tumors or whatever, to use that analogy. There's more like, when you read how infiltrated, or maybe not really infiltrated, maybe the neo-Nazis were welcomed into the police corps. Maybe that kind of white supremacist attitude is a norm in a lot of the Peace Corps, a lot of the police, units in America. Like,
Well, that's the other thing is that we're from California. Our police
mhm,
officers, for the majority, have to be college educated and they go through stringent backgrounds and they're getting 50, 60, even in certain places, 90K a year.
mhm,
But if you go to backward or fucking Georgia or fucking, Oklahoma, those cops are getting what we even don't even have considered minimum wage here in California.
mhm.
And they're fucking 10 guys in a fucking sweaty fucking cop shop in the middle of nowhere. And they're
Right.
fucking
So I mean, so then you have the economic inequality, whether you're a cop or you're just Joe Blow, and so you need to supplement your money some way. So the cops, they rip people off
they
and
rip,
they
yeah.
plant drugs on people or whatever they do nefariously to just make more
Or they
money.
just they just pull you over and and write bullshit tickets.
Yeah,
And
dude.
that's the thing, man, is like as we sit here and go, okay, people are getting shot, people are getting shot. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to fucking I am not trying to minimize this, but
No, me
scores
neither.
and scores and scores of poor people are being pulled over because they have a missing tail light or bondo on the side or the fucking lights not working on their fucking license plate. And they're getting charged insane amounts of money where they can't pay it. And then when they can't pay it, their license gets suspended. And when they get caught driving on a license suspended because they got to go to work, they get arrested. And the only way to get out of jail is to pay money or do fucking day work. And it's a strain on our fucking on our economic system to begin with as human beings. It's like, bro, I'm in that realm right now, and I've been in that realm where it's like I can't afford to pay my fucking my tickets, so then they suspend my license. And
Right.
now I'm driving on a suspended license. And then I get pulled over for that, and then they take your car at some point.
Right.
And then your car's gone, and now you got to take a bus to work. And then it's like you're barely getting to work, you're barely getting to see your kids. And then at some point you're like, fuck this life. I'm going to fucking sell drugs and fucking hold up banks. So
Dude, there, and rich Santa Cruz, in the little town of Capitola, I read that 25% of the city of Capitola's revenue comes from parking tickets. But you look at whatever, small town America, some of those cities, up to 90% of the way that the mayor gets paid and the city council, the entire infrastructure of the city is from tickets.
right.
If it wasn't for, like one time I was driving through this small town in Colorado late on a Saturday night. The highway turned into a little road through the town and then pops back onto the highway. So it went from 70 miles an hour to 35. Like by the time you slow down, you're out of the town. So, I was trying to slow down, and then you see the sign highway and you start speeding up again. I get pulled over.
Oh, damn.
The cop gives me a ticket, and I was like, thanks. He's like, oh, you have to pay it now. And I was like, what if I can't pay the ticket now? He goes, well, Saturday night, the judge isn't back till Monday. You'll just be in jail till Monday. And I was like,
whoa, when was this?
this is like the mid 90s.
That's crazy, because that's something that I thought like you hear about in the 50s, or that you see in movies.
And the sign that said like 35 miles per hour, the sign was behind like a tree. And I was like, the sign's behind the tree. He's like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was set up so that anyone traveling through was going to get a ticket. So I was like, I had I guess I had a card or something, I had a card. I needed to get cash. I was like, well, okay, where can I get cash? And there was like one bar, it was open Saturday night, Colorado. I walk in, it's Coyote Ugly, bro. You're like, I would like to hang out at this bar. Like this is the best party I've ever seen.
It's a setup.
It's a setup. That's what I thought. I come out with some liquor on my breath, and now like I'm drunk in public or whatever,
right.
But I got my money, so I got it, and I went back to him. I'm like, here you go. He goes, no, you need to put it in this envelope. I was like, here you go. He goes, no, you got to walk with me. And we walked, and again, and I'm not, and I just want to say this. I just want to say this because like, I know I'm white, and that, I have privileges that if my skin was a different color, this situation could have turned into something that ended in murder. I understand that. But
what's that movie with Chevy Chase?
Was that the Vacations?
I can't remember. No, it's like a weird eerie movie where they drift into a town. I think John Candy's in it, and they
The Burbs? No. Burbs? No.
I can't remember, but like they drift into a town, they get pulled over, and the guy's like, you gotta go see the judge. Kind of shit. I can't remember, dude.
It was like that. And
yeah.
So I'm walking in the middle.
Creepy.
I'm walking in the middle of nowhere with this guy to some house, and there's a mail slot, and he goes, put it in the mail, and I drop it in the envelope, double back, and got out of there. But maybe it was his house. I have no idea. But the point is,
he's all he unzips his pants, and he's all, you got to put the envelope in here.
Yeah, it could have got super. I was lucky, but there's this corruption, everywhere you turn, and then I think that
that's like, right, Jello.
Jello's up.
Jello's saying it's Dan Aykroyd, and he's got a dick for a nose. Yeah, what's the name of that movie, Jello? But yeah, dude, that's That's the weirdest thing ever. And see, I didn't travel at that time, and if I did, but it was I took a bus to Des Moines, Iowa from California, and like that was the extent of my travels. And I didn't stop in any small towns. I do remember getting high in Rock Springs on a break, and this guy, I'm smoking a joint, sitting on the bench, And this guy walks over and he goes, "Hey, California, you're not in California anymore. You're in fucking
Mm,
Wyoming."
mm-hmm.
You know, and this is like 97.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all, "If the cops bust you with weed out here, you're going to prison."
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and it's like, wow, man, you know, like that's
That was and I mean, we're next door. Our neighbors are Nevada, and Nevada for the
right.
longest time was like
Life sentence.
any resin. Yeah, like an empty pipe. There's no weed in it, but there's resin, and then you go to prison.
That's like, bro, that's what's weird is like, I remember when I got offered a show in Dubai and people were like, and I looked this up and it was true for a moment. I don't know. I like, as I got, as I got more into it, people were like, it doesn't happen like that anymore. But there are stories where like they would like find like a little gram, like a little like not a gram. I mean a little grain, a grain.
I've never heard of this movie. Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah, that's what it is. Nothing but trouble.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they get pulled over by some law enforcement, and then
Yeah.
they get taken to some dump, and
Demi Moore
it's
is
like,
his
bro, it's
wife.
very, it's like a comedic House of a Thousand
John Candy.
Corpses.
Oh man, it's a great.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that.
Um,
But yeah, they say it's not like that anymore. Sure. I don't
yeah,
believe
yeah,
that.
that's the thing is like
Like, I
so.
believe depends on the cop and
So
where you are in the
so like
situation.
there's a story of a guy who had like a grain of like a small little grain the size of a sand grain of THC, like a little crystal on his lapel.
Mm,
And I had a friend who used to go to Dubai, and she said in the early days they would run like a vacuum cleaner over you.
mm,
If they decide to pull you aside and test your blood in Dubai, which you have
mm.
no right, you can't like they don't
Right,
really like. There's no like, hey man,
right.
like what's your due process here? You know, they like if they find marijuana in your system, it's
Mm.
10 years. It's 10,
Holy moly.
and it's and so people that's happened to people. It doesn't happen anymore because it's way more a little for a better like a term liberal there.
I guess.
Um,
Unless you get caught, whatever it
Unless
is
you,
you
but that's
did.
the thing is they could go, oh, you're from California, and that was my fear is that they'd go, oh, you're from California, come over here. Like, there's a good chance you got weed in your system, bro. I don't know. Like, my one thing is not to like fucking piss on other people's customs and ways of doing things in other countries, but my
Yeah.
other thing is to like don't go to places where like I want to travel and I want to see places. Like, you know, and I want to go to not just like nice places. Like, you know, I'd like to visit, you know, a country like Iran one day. But I'm also like not a stupid fuck, you know? So like I decided you know, against it, you know, and like I didn't go because I'm a major stoner. But that's the thing though, is that just 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the state of Nevada was giving out life sentences for
Yeah.
resin in your pipe, bro.
Right.
Like, are they
Dude, I
gonna?
mean,
They gonna
I got pulled over 100 times because I was on Grateful Dead tour and we were just easy pickings for small town
that's what
cops.
I always wondered, man. Because you know, my girlfriend was a follower of the Dead too, and I was like, how the fuck did you guys like survive in states where they knew you were gonna enter with shit?
Yeah. And then and the cops, they, as the Dead, because until like 87, the Dead were still kind of a small phenomena. And then they had that hit song, Touch of Grey, and that kind of shot them with MTV Video. That shot them mega. And then like everyone who wanted to be a runaway or join the circus or just come to the party inundated the scene. And then the cops, the FBI flocked to it, and they got smarter. The cops learned how to bust people better, how to infiltrate better. They started this program called Operation Rollover, and so they would just a pretty basic cop scenario where they find someone with a joint like you, right? They find you're at a concert, but
Right.
you're in Indiana, so you get popped with a joint, and they plastic cuff you, take you to the van, and then they go, hey, Butch Escobar, you're going to go to prison unless you go back into the lot and find the guy who sold you that joint. And they keep working their way up the chain, but like so many people would disappear. You know,
That
like so
is,
many people would disappear.
bro, why you picking on fucking hippies, dog? Like, that's the
Yeah,
thing to me is like, that is crazy. Cause like you
they
are,
go like it goes revenue
yeah.
stream,
I,
man.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh. It's just to me, like right now, I'm
Oh,
reading.
laugh all you want.
I'm reading a book about uh a drug dealer, like like a very early drug trafficker, and then the last book I read was about like this RICO investigation on Nuestra Familia, like a prison gang. And then I've just read something about MS-13, like this other investigation, these like RICO. And
Yeah,
it's like you're basically talking about a RICO investigation on the Grateful
right.
Dead. Like that's
Yeah,
like Grateful Dead fans.
yeah,
Like it's like you're
yeah.
gonna go and you're gonna get me the next guy that sold you weed, and it's crazy to think, dude. This is marijuana. Like I can't. Like I remember it being highly
Well, yeah.
illegal.
I mean,
I
that was one
remember, yeah.
example, but they, there was a lot of LSD in the scene.
Well, I guess that's the thing
Yeah,
too. But it's still, I don't. I mean, we're learning now. Like honestly, I don't even know how cops would react about acid. I feel that cops would be like, "What do you have? I have LSD. Okay, give it to me. I'm gonna throw it out for you or some shit."
no, it
Like
was
that's
LSD was the one you went to jail forever for that.
right, but nowadays I wonder how cops would handle it. Is what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's still like it's still like a, a federal narcotic or whatever that Schedule 1 is. And then
Schedule
the
one
thing they do
narcotic.
with the LSD, which is insane, is that it's by weight. The weight determines your sentence. And so, if it's on paper, it's the weight of the paper. But like a lot of times, and I've read a lot of cases where if it was in your wallet, the whole wallet is weighed. If it was in a car,
Yeah,
they take
yeah.
the car and weigh the car. That's how much. And so yeah, a lot of people. I think a lot of people are still in jail and never got out.
That's insane, dude.
For 30 years
That
because
is
of
fucking crazy.
some LSD. Huge threat.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Is like talk about surviving fucking the pandemic, dude. People like a lot of us survived the fucking war on drugs, and that's the thing that was like. I remember how scary marijuana was, like getting busted for weed. You know, I had a friend
Yeah.
who was selling weed out of his lunchbox. He had this little tin lunchbox in his locker, and he would go and he had like little dime bags. And I remember when he got busted, dude, like, or like when the cops started catching up, they were pulling us
Yeah.
out of class, and
Mm,
they were like, I remember sitting in a conference room with two cops on each side of me, like a cop on each side of me, and like they're like, one's got his leg up, and he's like talking to me, dude, and I'm like, and he's got a corduroy coat on and a fucking like a badge in his hip, and I was like, oh, this is big time, bro. Like this is like a big deal, you know. And I didn't rat though. I still didn't fucking rat, but I was like,
yeah,
I,
that's my guy.
I remember how scared I was though, bro. They scared the fuck out of me. And they were like, if we find out, anything, and that was the thing is cops were able to say shit to kids and get away with it. Like I know
Yeah,
now if some fucking cop pulled my kid into a fucking conference room without my knowledge, I would make sure that motherfucker didn't have a fucking job, bro. Like I would be so pissed. And my
oh right,
parents were
right,
just
to his body. Yeah,
yeah, my parents were more or less like they were mad, but they felt like they couldn't do anything, you know. And I just kept saying, like, for me, I was like, look, man, I'm a little kid, dude. I don't know. I don't think I'm supposed to say anything without my parents. And they were like, don't worry about your parents. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure my parents are supposed to be here. And they were
hmm,
like, look, man, we just want to know what's going on with this guy and if you have any knowledge of what's in his locker and like maybe if you even know the combination. And I'm like, no, I don't even know who that person is, And then the other guy would like do the bad cop and he'd be like, "Oh, like you don't know, like we saw you hanging out with him today." And then I
yeah,
was like, I haven't talked to the guy since I bought weed off him 2 days ago. Fuck
right.
off. But like that's the shit that they would pull and it's so weird, bro, because we're here we are what I feel is a very short time later.
Yeah,
And we're like weed's not a big deal, man.
You know,
Yeah,
weed's
I
not.
mean, federal legalization that seems to be coming right up, seems to be on the table.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
Schumer's talking about
There's
it.
too much money in this, dude. There's too much money in it. You
Riley
know.
wants to know about who even has LSD. I mean, Riley, search microdosing. LSD is more popular now, I think, than it was in the 80s. Every tech grunt in Silicon Valley has
Oh yeah,
access
there's
to
LSD.
LSD.
There's there's LSD for sure out here.
But in like junior
I
high,
can think of comics right now that I think
I was
I,
hey Riley, here's some numbers.
I was like, hey man, I'll hook you up with a good guy.
As a matter of fact, no, I don't. But I was that guy was that in high school, Butch, or junior high?
I
When
was
we
in high
talking about?
school. I was in high
Yeah,
school.
I was that guy. I was the guy. I'd show up late. I was just getting high under the gym and 8 in the morning, and everyone's gathered around my locker, and the vice
Yeah,
principal's there, and he's like, "Open this up," and it's like, no problem, because like I was always prepared,
keep it in the field.
because we were slinging weed for 3 years. We'd get a pound, and there was a group of us, and we just sell weed to everybody, and it was a huge no. And like I'd open my locker and he'd be like pulling everything out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be seeing books I've never seen before. I'm like, I have those books. Like I had no idea what was in my locker. And then I remember he pulled out it was like a bottle opener. What's this?
Was this
Like,
some
that's
sort of paraphernalia?
a
That was the thing too. I don't.
bottle opener, sir.
The first time I ever heard the word paraphernalia, I was scared, bro. I was scared because they found a pipe. They found a pipe
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah.
I was in. I made a pipe out at wood shop, a little wooden pipe, and I was sitting there playing with it. It hadn't even been used yet. And the
Where's Jello from? Jello's not a California guy.
yeah, he's not. I think he's from fucking Wisconsin or some shit like that. No, I don't know where he's
Yeah.
from. I don't know where he's from.
Jello's shooting up cheese.
I remember having random fire drills where when all the kids went out, the drug dogs went in. You could always
Yeah.
tell who came back from lunch. Yeah, I heard about that, bro.
Wisconsin.
That never happened. That was the one thing is I went to school in a really small town,
Yeah.
and if they were gonna jam up a kid for drugs, they really had to make sure they were jamming up the right kid because like it was a Morgan Hill's a small affluent
Right.
Mormon community and like.
You came up in Morgan Hill. I didn't know that.
I came up in South San Jose, and it's weird, bro. And for those of you who don't know, San Jose is the second largest city in California, next to LA. And I lived on the far south of it, and then on the edge of San Jose, on that end is Morgan Hill. But the town of Morgan Hill doesn't start for another half-hour drive into Morgan Hill. So I had to go to school in Morgan Hill, even though I was on the south end of San Jose. It was this weird. I don't know why the divide was like that, but
Right.
there was a portion of San Jose kids that had to go to school in Morgan Hill,
Right.
and fucking and I did go. I lived in Morgan Hill till I was like till I was like 14, and then my parents moved to San Jose. So my parents just saw it fit for me to go to school in one of the most racist fucking communities in California, and fucking man, I remember how scary they were about weed, bro. Like, I remember that fucking lady found my fucking pipe and she was like on the phone with my mom talking about paraphernalia and that they were thinking about calling the police. And I was like, not for paraphernalia. Please don't charge me with paraphernalia. Like I was fucking scared, bro. Like, and they kept saying paraphernalia over and over again, and it's like, what is that? What the fuck is that? And
Right.
and then I had propaganda as well, because I had like a weed brochure that I like grabbed when I was
propaganda and paraphernalia.
I was like in Berkeley, and they found like a weed fucking like a make weed legal fucking brochure, or like
Right.
what good properties of weed like that they do for you. Some weird hippie shit out of fucking Berkeley. And so they were like propaganda and fucking paraphernalia.
And bro, I was going to jail for life, dude. Like I was like,
Yeah.
like just charge me for a gun or something. And then I find out later, bro, it's just it's trying to scare you. Just
Yeah,
trying to
for the
lie to
rest
you
of
and
your
scare
life.
you. It's just
For the
fucking
rest of your life, you wherever you live, you got to knock on your neighbor's door and you go, "I had paraphernalia."
Hi,
They're like, "Oh,
I'm moving in your
you're not
neighborhood.
playing with our
I
kids."
had a bong.
And propaganda.
And propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, we were, I'm 300 years old, so I'm talking about the late 1970s. That's when all this was going down. And we stole all the triple beam out house scales from chemistry to weigh our weed. I mean,
Oh
we
my
were
god.
terrors. And then Ronald Reagan became president, and then basically the high school class after we graduated, that's when they started with the dogs. That's when they started with the cameras. We just missed that bullet. We were the year before that. And so, yeah, anyone coming, yeah, metal detectors, cops, dogs, I guess that's all the norm. Um, that's that whole brave new world, man. That's the whole one world order.
Yeah, if
Gotta
you
shake down the kids,
bro, isn't it bizarre? It's like if you would have told me
drop some.
that in like 20 years, like you're gonna be smoking weed on fucking the internet
Yeah,
and people are gonna see you and they're
yeah.
like and you don't have to worry about the cops kicking down your door or like
Well,
and
I mean, it's not like we didn't dream. Like we had this, we called it a head shop. That's where we got our rolling papers, and they had, black light posters and like trippy stuff. And we would go there and get our rolling
yeah,
papers,
I remember that. I totally remember those days,
our,
dude.
our, our club cabaret, but we would be in there, 16 years old and high. And we'd be like, man, that's how we talked, man, one day, in this store, we'll just be able to buy weed. It's got to happen, and this is like 78, 22,
Yeah.
40, 42 years later.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that store, that same store in New Jersey actually is one of the few places that sells weed. So
Are
yeah,
you
I mean, that's,
serious? That's pretty
yeah,
dope.
yeah,
I
yeah,
cuz
yeah.
I remember going into this tobacco shop in the middle of San Jose off Capitol and 87 and I don't know if it's still there, but it like you would walk in and it was like they had sodas and alcohol. It was like half all alcohol, a little bit of sodas and candy and chips, and then half all this wall of tobacco. And like you
Mhm.
would pull the tobacco out of the bins and whatever you wanted. And I was looking at this wall of tobacco bins, and I looked at the lady. I'm all, if weed's ever legal one day, y'all gonna carry like you're gonna sell weed here? And she was like, hell yeah, we will. And I was like, hell yeah. And this is even before they talked about it making it medical, And this
Right.
is like, fuck, bro, 94, 95 when they first started just talking about it, And then I remember
Yeah.
the cannabis cafe in San Francisco where it was like like it was they were playing music and that place was so ahead of its time when they ended up shutting it down or something. I don't remember, dude.
There was one of the first weed places I did in was in San Jose. And like now, like there's a store in Santa Cruz that's like the Genius Bar at an Apple store. Like it looks like it. Like it's all very shishi. It's very streamlined and
Right.
looks nice. But this place, right when things went medical, I did comedy at a place in San Jose. You probably did too. And it was like a prison yard.
Okay.
Like
I think
dudes were playing dominoes, or they're little fold up tables all around you,
are
and
you talking
you
about the
put
one
your
with the
hand up.
snakes?
Yes.
The snake is the
you put
treehouse. Treehouse,
you
dude.
put your you put your hand up, and a guy would come over with a blowtorch and dab you, and then the wall was full of snakes, and I would say things like, there's no more snakes in the cages. Is anyone worried? And nobody, like, people were so high there, they couldn't remember from setup to punchline. We're in the corner. There was no light.
Ah.
It was the weirdest. And it was like you'd go to get weed and just be like a dude with a jar. And he'd be like, how much do you want? And he'd just
Right.
stick his hand in and he'd give you a bunch of weed. Wasn't
Yeah.
wrapped, wasn't packaged, it wasn't choices. Oh
Yeah.
man,
No.
but things have changed.
There was
Huge
no
money
sativa
maker.
indica, and I need something for this. Oh
Yeah.
man, that was like one of the first real like open weed places that like at the time too out here. And
Yeah.
like
On the
I
first.
remembered the dabs because I'd never heard of them. And they were like, yeah, we concentrate this shit. And this is back when they were using probably like the worst fucking bad Korean gas, the fucking like the bad Korean butane. And they were like, it
The
was
stuff that
very,
always
yeah, they were
exploded.
using like fucking the screens from fucking the faucet to fucking like to strain it. You know, who knows what
Right.
they were doing back there? Because it did.
Right.
It felt like it was it certainly felt like you were doing comedy in a prison yard. And
Yeah, it did.
I remember like a certain comic had never done dabs before, and she did them, and she ended up having to throw them in her purse, and like it was, it was a wreck,
Right.
bro. It was a bad like, it was a almost all bad situation except for that time that Matt Lee did. I think he did some Bone Thugs fucking covers for a couple of Bone Thugs that he met there, and that was pretty
Oh,
dope. Yeah. So like,
yeah, I bet that was dope.
but that was I remember the
Yeah, man.
I remember the smell of this cages, and like I remember them like offering me dabs, and at the time, man, I didn't even smoke weed. I don't think. You know, like I was on a hiatus from weed because weed had gotten
Mm,
too potent for me,
yeah,
and
that's a good lead in, bro, because it's 420 and like everyone's puffing and it's like I'm I've smoked weed regularly every day since 1977.
right,
That's a long time, and I find that sometimes weed doesn't help me. Like I've talked about on this show for the last month or so, I've really struggled, and I've been
okay,
smoking weed the whole time. And 420 today, I'm gonna do a little break. I'm gonna take a break because it's not helping me at all. Like
oh,
I feel like it's not helping my depression. It's
mm-hmm.
not, and I want to just clean out. I want to clean out the system. And I've done this before, um, one thing I don't know about you, but I find when I stop smoking, my dreams come back. Like I don't really dream that much when I go to bed at night. I smoke weed till I pass out. So right before I go to bed, I'm smoking weed. And then I
Right.
don't remember my dreams. But when I stop smoking weed, dreams come back like Technicolor. Does that happen to
That
you?
no, it might have before, but I have dreams now,
Mm,
and I haven't had dreams in a long time, and or at least that I could remember, and but I do know the feeling of like, man, I'm never sober. And I am almost like envious of people who are sober. And I remember telling myself whenever I feel bad about smoking weed like that, I just don't smoke it. You know, like
hmm
that's the thing for me, man, is like when I have high strain and high stress, I don't smoke weed. Like when I'm tripping off shit, dude, badly, like when it's immediately happening, like
hmm
right now, bro, yes, I'm definitely have a lot of issues going on like everybody else does that I should be freaking out about. But I'm like that meme where that dude's just walking with his backpack and he's on fire. Like I'm like whatever, like but when it's bad shit like my girlfriend's mad at me or during my breakup or when my mom died, like when I got heavy shit to think about, I don't smoke weed because it fucks with me. And so that allows me, I found that allows me breaks, because there's always something going on um that I gotta go, okay, dude, I'm not gonna smoke weed because it'll make me think too much. Like if I got to dote on something, I can't smoke weed because I'll overthink it. You
Mhm.
know, if I'm fucking dude, you know what? I'll tell you how I gained like a lot of why I am where I am now as far as where my thinking is and the change and all the stuff that I always talk about. That comes from wanting to smoke weed again. Because when I was a bad person, I couldn't smoke weed and look myself in the eye. You
Mhm.
know, and so like wanting to smoke weed cuz anytime I do something bad or I do something that I'm not supposed to, I'll feel it when I'm high. And weed does that to me. It makes me a very self-critical
Mhm.
person. And
Mhm.
so for me, man, and that's what I would advise to you too. You know, if you're not fucking like, bro, do exactly what you're doing. If it's not making you feel good, then stop fucking with it, dude. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I think sometimes like weed is pretty mercurial where it can have different effects at different times and different weed affects you differently, but in general, weed, it like can help you look at yourself, it can help you identify things that maybe you're repressing or, like if you feel like you're not a good person, then you probably don't think about that. And then when you're on weed, it kind of brings it to the surface and that's good so
Right.
you can look at it and kind of, dissect it and check yourself out and, check yourself. But other times it it dulls me. Like I'm like my brain needs to be sharper. Like I need to figure some shit out and I
Yeah.
need to make some decisions. And if I smoke weed, really, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna want to zone out on something. Is not going to give me the sometimes weed, if I'm tired, weed will give me energy. Sometimes it'll give me, like Jello saying, it'll give me too much energy. Like weed will put me into a full panic
Right.
attack
Yeah.
where I
Dabs,
feel like my
aka
skin's
you want to
about
be
to rip off
violently
my
high.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's
But sometimes you got to clean, sometimes you got to take a step. And it's not easy. Do I want to smoke weed today? Yeah, I really would like to. But at the same time, I think it's good to take breaks. I think it's good just to check it out, and
I think it
you
is
know
a good
what,
idea too.
there's another thing weed does. I think, and you could disagree with me. Please do if I'm wrong. Like Prozac, does that thing where if you have a lot of anger, Prozac kind of like eats it and dissipates it, and
Right.
like it floats away. And weed does that too, which is why people compare weed to alcohol, and they go, "Hey, if everyone smoked weed instead of alcohol, there'd be a lot less fights." And that's probably true. But like right now, I feel like I need my anger, like I need my motivation, like I
Right.
need to do some shit. And maybe you'll check in with me tomorrow and I'll be high as fuck. But right now, I'm sort of really feeling like I need a break.
Well, and that I think that's the thing is that um yeah, you got to do that from time to time. You know, you got to clear out. I think you definitely got to do that. Like I do it voluntarily and involuntarily because I'm not always super motivated when I'm fucking sitting there stoned off my ass. You know, like lately, like I've been. What I do is I put in a day's worth of work. I go do all my shit. I do everything I'm supposed to, and then I reward myself at the end of the day with video games and getting high. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like my biggest issue, my biggest addiction is video games. You know, like I fucking love playing video games. So like, and I know that it makes me completely inactive. Weed not so much. Weed can make me inactive if I smoke copious amounts of it. If I'm like constantly fucking puffing and puffing and puffing,
Yeah,
like it'll make me go like, dude, I don't feel like doing shit. You know, but
right.
if I sneak a toke here and there throughout my day, it makes everything super fucking manageable for me.
Well, I think it's pretty amazing that you figured out, and not just you, but you figured out how to take your obsession with video games and turn it into something that actually helps your career, and your brand by doing it on Twitch. And and so like you don't do it alone. It's not even like anonymously. You if you used to play an online game, you whatever, you wouldn't actually talk. You talk to those people on the headphone, but now on Twitch is very visible who
Yeah,
you
it's
are.
when
you know,
it's
not
active,
anonymous.
and I got a good group of people watching and we're playing together. It's
Yeah.
It's fun, man. I've met some of them. I've met some pretty amazing people on here, and that's kind of like the roots of this podcast started with the Twitch because it was like I couldn't go on Facebook and be positive, like and talk about positivity and talk about because I was such a negative person, and that place is such a negative space for me, and I couldn't go on really on Instagram and do much because to me it's like Instagram's really fake. And I meet this
Yeah.
community where it's like, sure, cool, we like to play video games too, but we also want to like talk. And that's the thing is like when I play video games, it's not as active as when I sit. Like right now, it's pretty active or not pretty active, but like we got some viewers on here, and I mean there was a time where it was way more active. Um
I
but
just triggered Butch into a major depression.
Yeah, well, because I made the mistake of thinking that I could like take a break. And the one
Yeah.
thing is, these people they like consistency, and
Yeah.
I can't be consistent on here, so that kind of fucks me up. But I have found it to be productive because I meet amazing people, and um, it helped me to talk about what I really like to talk about, which is like you know um mental health right now because I'm going through this change in my life where I've been someone who I thought was one of the worst human beings on earth, and I probably wasn't, but I
Yeah.
felt like I was, and I'm going to somebody that I like, and that's the thing is like, that's the thing about this is that I feel like if I could do this, because I'm very smooth brained, feeble minded human, and if I could do this, if
Yeah.
I could find some sort of salvation in this world, in this fucking 2020 world, this 2020 era world. Um, man, so can you guys, and so can you, and like that's the thing
Right.
is like, so I would share that on here with people, where I would go like, because I find that a lot of younger people are fucking depressed as fuck because they're being handed
Hmm.
a fucked up world.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's not really a fucked up world. We're just given that fucking vision, man, because we've been lied to over and over again. I know you.
Well, I mean, there's like, not to go into too much history, but I mean, it's like a lot of people are, people, the younger generation always gets kind of pissed at like the generation before them. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
people in the 60s, they pushed for so much, from civil rights and voting rights and women's rights. And but then it was like it became, what was it, like the me generation, the yuppies, it became very materialistic,
Right.
and then there's been a huge resurgence of people like from the 90s until now that are just got their foot on the pedal. It's like change doesn't come if you don't persistently try to make it happen. To go back to what we were saying originally about how do you change a corrupt system? Are we handing them a corrupt system, or are we giving them a better system than it was? I don't know. But I think it's time for everybody, no matter what, Gen X, millennial, whatever, however you want to identify. I certainly don't want to identify as any of those stupid categories. It's like we're just human. We want a better world. We want people to stop being killed because of the color of their skin. And I don't know. I think revolution's on the way, and I think it's going to be us versus all those neo-Nazi fucks.
I think. I think revolution is already here.
True.
I think that it's not to what our perception of it was.
Mm.
Um, I think that it's upon us and it's happening, and whether the lights get turned off and we go to for pitchforks
Oh yeah, we talked about. Thank
and
God everyone's played Fortnite,
and
so they'll be ready
torches,
for this.
or will it be change within?
Right.
Like I think we're reaching the end, of an era where or and I think like the end of all these eras, there's always a big battle between good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a battle between these two forces, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and we're deciding which way we want to go forward into this world, into this universe, as a society, as an entity. We are
Right.
deciding, well, are we a good entity? Or are we a bad entity?
Right.
And I'm not saying that the opposite of what I think is bad. I just what I'm saying is that I think we are giving into on my end, and I'm sure that the other side thinks the whatever qualities I have are evil. But for me, it's like
Sure.
the what I'm talking about is that if we accept that there isn't any more racism, if we go on saying, yeah, we're equal no matter what, and I'm cool with gay people as long as they don't touch me, like if we ride that road, if we ride that, you're pretty cool for a Mexican guy, if we ride that, like fucking black people aren't, um, are getting carried away with their feelings. If we ride that road, then we're choosing evil. We're choosing to go the bad way. We're choosing to be a machine or an entity of something that does not care about diversity and does not care about everything else, because I think it comes down to nature. I think it comes down to taking care
Mm.
of our planet. I think it comes down to
Yeah.
harmony amongst human beings, and all living objects. And we need to decide to go in one direction or another. And
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry if people disagree with
Chaos or
me.
community. I
Right.
always heard of this chaos. Are we just going to tear each other from limb to limb, and kind of a final purge, but I think this is a really unique moment in history. I'm glad I'm alive today. I am anyway.
Same
And,
here. That's why I'm like, man, if
but
people are like, it's the end of the world, and I'm like, I don't think we're that lucky, but if we are, fuck yeah, bro. We got to see it burn down, dude. We got to see it all burn down in front of us. So like,
this is the time for dreams. It's like, like here's like, I'll give you one, and it's not social, heavy or anything, but
okay,
so, I had a business, a comedy club, got shut down, because of the plague. We lost the building because people are snakes. And then, now there's this grant out there for $16 billion that's going to Broadway. It's going to all entertainment, and who's going to
right,
get the majority of it is the corporations, Live Nation, and the small people like me, we're going to struggle to get our crumbs just like every time throughout history. But I think this is the time because, like, shit, man, if there was a movement on TikTok that said we're banning Live Nation, like, I think there's such a way to connect now through different platforms where you could shut down a huge corporation and make them change the way they do things. Because, like, I think, like, if Live Nation, and if you don't know who that is, they're just like a huge, they own most of the comedy clubs and the talent.
right,
They're going to grab all this free money that's coming from the stimulus bill. So they're not going to lose. The corporation's not going to lose anything. They're all going to golden parachute and get big salaries. But that money needs to go down to the artist, to you, to Butch. Like,
right.
it needs Butch should get whatever 50,000 a year for whatever to be the artist,
Hell yeah.
to reinvigorate the arts. Are you telling me that Broadway is going to get $1 billion and they're still going to charge me $200 a ticket? No, I think the arts need to reopen up for free at that bigger level to bring people back. Like, we're not used to hanging out with each other. It's been 13 months. We need to retrain audiences and how to enjoy the arts and appreciate them and not keep everything so exclusive. The money's there. Corporations will be just fine. And I think that's like an idea of like a dream of a change. And if you're like DNA, that'll never happen. They'll not let everyone into an NBA game for free.
Right.
Why not? Why not give us back some of what we lost over the
No,
last
and I
13
think it's
months?
worth putting into the air. I'll never say that's never going to happen, because anything is possible, especially if you want to go beyond just believing in it and speaking out on it, and
I'm
like
here. Yeah, I'm here for the Live Nation hate. Thanks, Robot. Is that Molly? Sorry.
no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say who these people are, but I do know who that
That's all
is.
right.
It's another comedian.
Okay.
But yeah, dude.
Yeah, and the Butch, they talk about it in so many different,
It's
Bernie
Gums. It's
Sanders
Justin
brought.
Gums.
Oh, all right. Hey, what's up, Justin? You know, um, you know, all right, so all right, you're like DNA is too specific to comedy, but it's like education. You know, Bernie talks about it. Make schools free so people can be educated. I don't understand how these politicians don't want us to be the best we can be. We give education free to everybody. We give college
Right.
education free to everybody. This country will have a renaissance, new ideas that'll create huge economies and jobs.
I don't understand that either. I don't understand that either, other than that it is a complex, that we are working in an industrial complex um of workers who, you know, it goes back to that George Carlin thing where it's like they want you to just know enough. They want you to know enough to not be too stupid, but stupid enough to not fight back. You know, you know, and that's the thing is I keep telling people, man, masks are not the fucking control. Dollar bills are the control. Capitalism's the conspiracy theory. Keep you working. You work. Oh, good. I get a 2-week vacation, but guess where you got to come back from because you need to still fucking eat and you still need enough to just live. And this is bullshit, bro. To me, it's bullshit that you have to work hard all fucking day long just to go back and work hard and you're making somebody else money, you know? And that's the thing for me is that it's like I encourage every human being to work. I encourage every community to have jobs, you know, but also consider, you know, also that you're better than that, you know, and what's your purpose in life and where to go from there, because to me, man, it was like I would be like I remember my Mr. Henley up the street hired me to work at his McDonald's. And at some point I realized how much McDonald's was actually making, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and how much Mr. Henley was making off of me. And it was like, man, I'm working fucking hard as a fucking 15-year-old, and this motherfucker's making bank off me. And from
Right,
that day forward, it was like, dude, I don't want to be a part of this fucking machine.
right.
I don't want to be a part of this monster, you know? And like, and if we're gonna keep society going, I guess we got to do this. But at the same time, that's what we're doing. We're just feeding the machine of capitalism. I fucking hate that I'm saying shit like this, but it is to me. That's
No, no,
how.
that's it. That's it. You got to identify the problem, and that's you know what I'm saying is like, I think we're in a special place where there's a crack. There's cracks in the system, and that this is a time to pry them open and to formulate in your head what it is you want to see. What kind of country do you want to see? Because you're not going to make a difference. And
Dude,
it goes back to mental health. What if you're depressed and down? Okay, I get that. I live that.
right.
But how do you see? What do you see? How do you see yourself? What's your ideal self? What do you want to be? I
Well, and
mean,
that,
Justin Gomes, he's gone Amish. He's
he
building barns with his
he
neighbors.
is
That's what he looks good in overalls like
his
that, Justin.
Instagram is amazing. I'm envious of it. And even he said,
No, me too.
Justin's making the same point that you are. It should be easier for the average person to dictate the value of their own labor, and I really believe that. I really believe that it should be easier. Um, for us to say what we're worth as human beings. And I'm not saying don't make more money for somebody else, but we're all making significant amounts of money more for everybody else except for us.
When then and then like you know to go back to the where we are at in history over the last 13 months, the the attitude towards your menial workers, you know, your cashiers, your baristas, the attitude changed. And all of a sudden, there was a recognition, oh shit, these people are crucial. They're essential workers. If they didn't populate this coffee shop, nothing's open. These guys are putting their life on the line. Now, has that manifested into a national living wage? No, because rich people don't want it to happen, you know. So like within politics, there's always going to be two sides fighting each other. It's that yin and yang. That's you know, but it's a fucking puppet show.
Right,
It's up
right.
to us to make the decision. You make the decision. Who do you want to be?
Yeah.
That's up to you. Who do we want to be? That's up to us, not to arbitrary, you know, powers that be. And also, Riley, I'm not, it's not like yeah, arbitrary labels. Yeah, I think millennial, zillennial, Gen X shit, boomer. I think that's all ageist bullshit to keep us separate.
Well,
Do
yeah,
I have? Do I identify? I identify. I'm somewhere between Gen X and boomer, but it's like I'm somewhere between Aries and Taurus. It's like, does any of that define me? No, I'm a deadhead. I got my
right,
own label.
right.
That I know
I
who
think
I
that's the
am
thing
through my
too,
own
though.
experience.
Is man, who was like? I think I was having this conversation on a video game that I was playing, and that's that again. Um, I have a lot of great conversations with guys all around the planet. Sometimes
Yeah,
I play this video game at night. Right now, it's called Sea of Thieves, and you're a pirate on a pirate ship of about three other guys, and sometimes you meet some cool people and sometimes you meet some very uncool fucking people. But
yeah,
last night that's the thing is we were having this conversation about that. Your identity, like how do you identify with who you are? What identifies you? And what, cuz I think I might have said something about like, well, that is that your identity or is that the identity that society had given you? This guy was claiming who he was.
right.
You
Was his name
know,
Stagnetti?
and I no, no. I don't remember this guy's name. But and I remember feeling like that's the thing, man. And someone said it, dude. Is like
That was an inside joke.
you define yourself, who you are, and that should be what it
Right.
is how you define. Do you like? I know people all the time, and it comes up in comedy. What do you How do you consider when do you consider yourself a professional comedian? And there's so many different opinions on it. But the only opinion that I learned, because like I would go around going, "What defines you as a comedian?" One person said an hour of material. Another person said, you have credits. Another person said when you start getting paid. Another person said when that is what all you are. Like when that's how you make your living, and that you have your own apartment. You're not a carpenter and a stand-up comic. You're just a stand-up comic. So there was all these things that I heard on what defines you as a stand-up comedian. And the one thing that I learned that I could tell you that I safely could say about that, and now being considered a professional stand-up comedian, it is whatever you want it to be. Okay, it is however you see in your mind. Because to me, when did I start to become a professional stand-up comedian? When I started getting paid more than I wasn't. When people
Mhm.
started asking for me. When I had more than a half hour, not an hour. Like because that's when I started getting paid. And when I was a working comic, when I had the respect of my peers, it wasn't so cut and dry for me. But that was how I considered myself a stand-up comedian. And so for me, when people go, well, what would it take if someone were to come to me and go, Butch, what makes me a stand-up comic? And I would say, do you feel like you're a professional stand-up comedian? And if their answer was no, then I would say then start moving towards doing things that will make you feel like you're a professional stand-up comedian. If you say yes, and you have a certain criterion of your own as to why you believe you're the stand-up, then you're a stand-up. And that's really what it is. And that's overall in life. That's not just in stand-up comedy. What makes you a graphic artist? Well, I work all day long, but at night I go home and I paint these beautiful paintings, and then I turn them into digital art or whatever, or I do these digital art pieces. Well, do you consider yourself a graphic artist, even though you don't get paid for it, or whatever the real right criterion for it is? Yeah, I do. Then you are that, and so be that, embody that. And that to me is, am I a stand-up comic? Yes, I am. At the end of the day, what is your criterion? My criterion is my criterion.
Mhm.
No matter what, I believe I'm a stand-up comedian. So, like and I think that's how people should value themselves, and
Yeah, I think for young people right now, it's so hard. Like I've had this conversation over the years where someone comes up to me and be like, because my side gig, I guess, is I write. I'm a writer. I'm a writer. I'm a journalist. I don't know, but they'll be like, I want to be a writer. What do I do? And I'm just like, you need to write. Are you writing? No. Well,
First step, right there.
I think that's the first step. If you
Right.
want to do something, you kind of you have to initiate it at a certain point. And then, yeah, to be a pro at it, I would agree with all the things you said. You know, you're working, you're respected by your peers, you're getting paid, and but is like that's a thing to achieve. And Butch's work, you've worked a decade to get to that place. So, you know, it takes time. You know, and I
Well,
think
yeah. I mean, I think you can't just say like I write every once in a while in a journal I have.
yeah.
I can't say that I'm a writer
Mhm.
because if I couldn't look you in the eye and be like DNA, I'm a writer too. You
Mhm.
know, I couldn't. I couldn't.
Right.
But if I wrote every day and
Yeah.
I submitted things, and even if they got rejected, I'd probably still call myself a writer because that's what I want to embody. That's what I want to be. You
Mhm.
know, and I think that's the thing is like, yeah, you know, like you can't just go, yeah, I'm this. That's not going to work. I mean,
But isn't it, I don't, wouldn't you agree that it's like a tough time for a younger people, you know, people like teenagers and kids in college because of the last 13 months where it's like, I want to be a football player. Like, have you played football? Yeah, but now we can't play football anymore because quarantine or whatever. Like people, I think, you know, an entire generation
I think
kind of they got kneecapped where they were
I
cut.
guess
Mhm.
um I apologize for any insensitivity right now, but I don't feel as bad for them. Like I don't feel like it's a tough time. I feel like it
Okay.
can be. If you got to go, let me
Right.
know because I know you said you had a hard stop.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, DNA.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, I know that.
Okay.
I gotta, you know, let's
Okay.
give it a little bit more. Let's.
Okay. Okay. I know that it can be a hard time, and if you want it to
Mhm.
be a hard time, if you want to be like, man, I didn't get to go to prom, and I didn't get to have this experience, and I didn't get to have that experience. But you still had an experience, you know, and you're still alive. Like that's the thing is I dude, like I wrote this yesterday and it's not just something I put on my stories and like, oh, it's social media. It's like I'm still fucking alive today. It's 4/20, 2021, and I'm fully vaccinated and I feel good. And I'm fucking dude, and I made it. I thought I was gonna die during this thing, like a
Mhm.
lot of other people did, and I made it, and I get to say that I survived this. You know, and it's like we're not looking at the bigger picture here. We survived a fucking pandemic that tried to kill us. We survived one more thing that tried to put us in the ground. Like and we got to witness it. And we got to witness what happens when time almost stands still, you know, and to me that's a trade-off. You know, next year you'll get to play football, next year you'll get to
Mhm.
be that, but this year you had to reinvent yourself. All of us had to reinvent
Mhm.
ourselves,
Right,
and
right.
and to me I found that's where I found the pleasure in it. You know, it was like, man, I joke about it on stage where it's like I'm living my dream. I actually had to like got paid to play video games for the fucking pandemic. You know, like
Right.
comedy is not my real dream. Comedy was an easy way to make money that I thought was an easy way to make money. It's not. Trust me, don't listen to me. You know, like but it was like, "Oh, I'm going to make millions of dollars one day and be a famous comedian." So I could literally sit around and play video games and smoke pot all day long and not have to do anything with my life. And in the pandemic, not only did I get to do that, not only did the government just say, "Just do that." Don't do anything else. I still went and put up a Twitch, and for the time that we did have that going, I made some money. It bought this fucking computer system, and it helped put money on the table for Bobby. Some shit fell through. We're not making any more money on it, but you know, I'm back to getting to work and doing comedy. You know, and the beat
Mhm.
rolls on. You know,
Mhm.
and like that's the thing, man. Is like, dude, you guys, we got to witness this. Stop fucking sitting around feeling bad and feeling like, man, like we didn't get to do this stuff. Like
Right.
there's children in Africa who didn't get to go to a homecoming because they never even had a high school to have a homecoming at. You know, like that's that thing, and it's there, and I get it. Like we have our own problems. Like, bro, my niece just started college this year. she's new on a softball scholarship at fucking Humboldt State, and their whole season was suspended last year. And everybody kept going, poor Izzy. And I did feel bad for Izzy too. But at the same time, I was like, she gets to tell her grandchildren that she survived this, that she played,
Mhm.
that she played college athletics at least. And, you know, and even now, like, as she gets to play, she's number like 4 in the country or some shit like that. And she's doing great and she's smashing balls out of the park, and it's like she's getting to live this as well. So nah, man, I think this is amazing. This is an amazing time to be alive, bro. Again, like I said, if this is the end of the world, at some point we have to come to our knees as human beings,
Mhm.
and when we do that, we'll have completed, the cycle of life. I guess I don't fucking know, bro. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it's the beginning of a new era.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. You flipped me. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we're all, like I said, we're all in this together. I think it's a brand new. I think we're at a moment of time where we can have radical change and make things more the way we want them to be, more than any other time in history. And it's just about staying focused to
Look,
keep pushing it and
can I ask you
staying
something real
positive.
quick? Can I ask you something?
That's me talking to myself. You go ahead.
No, and I'm glad you're saying that. But
Yeah.
don't you respect your age enough? I feel like you don't respect your age. Like I feel like you like I think that's DNA's biggest problems is like one of your
Oh
biggest
yeah.
problems like, bro, you don't realize what you've made it through. You know what I mean?
Uh,
You don't
yeah, I've made
realize,
it this. I've made it this far.
bro, you've
Yeah.
survived everything. Like, when you like right now, bro, like I mean,
World War II.
my landlord wants to kick us out of this place. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'll ever find a place to let me and Bobby stay that I can afford.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what is the future.
Yeah.
But the one thing that is for sure that I know that I keep telling myself, because crisis is upon us when the lights get turned back on. My sister's getting removed from her place.
Mhm.
Not for not paying rent or anything. It's just that the people want to, they want to sell it or whatever. I don't know what the deal is, but she's facing a crisis and she's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Nobody wants to take the dogs, and we had a good cheap rent. But it's like, you're gonna survive. You survived this long. I know the end looks like it's near all the time, but it's not. It's not. Like, you made it this far, dude. You, DNA, have made it this far. You ran for mayor, you put on shows, you are the quote unquote fucking godfather of the fucking Santa Cruz comedy community. You have legions of men and women who are willing to fucking go to battle for you and do what they can for you. You survived, and you survived gracefully. You got this beautiful beard and the smooth skin. Like, look at you, bro. Look at you,
Yeah,
dude.
man.
Look at you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're here, and you made it through this thing. You made it. Like,
Mhm.
my dad's been through Vietnam, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Have you ever seen anything like this? Like this pandemic at the beginning of this?" My dad's like, I mean, my dad is scared. My dad's never afraid of shit, and he was
Mhm.
like, "I've never seen anything like this." And
Mhm.
it fucked me up, bro, seeing my dad scared like that or hearing my dad's worry, and like I would
Mhm.
call people that were very smart, intelligent, that would normally tell me I was panicking, and they were like, "No, you should be panicking." And like, but here I am, bro. I made it through it, dude. I made it through one of the toughest things that society, that the world that could have gone through, right?
Mhm.
And we did it with grace. We did it like, bro, honestly, bro, like, yeah, we turned on each other. There's a few dumpsters that were lit on fire. Okay? But all in all, man, we're still here, dude. Like, and that's the thing, is you're still here. You're still fucking here, bro. And you made it.
That's gonna be that's gonna be the name of my when I finally release my comedy album.
I'm
I'm
still
still
here.
here.
I'm still here.
Isn't there a movie like that?
Yeah, this probably is.
Well, shit, that was yeah, yeah. Thank you. And is that yeah, it's about, I've said this before, and this is something I believe, but I don't practice, is that it's about perspective, and so like if you always go around just thinking you're a piece of shit, you're going to feel like a piece of shit all the
Right.
time. You know, and it isn't like just telling yourself fairy tales is going to make you any better, but it's like every person has, you know, something decent in them, you know, and it's just, and I think it's good, you know, for me at least to have, you know, a friend like Butch who can remind me of stuff, because I forget. I think we all forget, you
I
know, we
forget
tend
too,
to
bro. And I'll rely on you
sink
to
into
remind
the
me.
depth. Yeah.
You
That,
know?
especially if you're like a person who has had depression throughout your life, then you tend to sink into depression because it's very comfortable. It's like a familiar old chair, you know, that you don't want to get out of for any reason.
Right.
And yeah, I'm going to try to put my brain towards the light over the next week, and we'll see how I am then.
What before we go, what's the name of that swamp in Never Ending Story where it swallows the horse? Do you remember?
This of sorrow.
Swamp
The
of Sorrow.
swamp.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're like, hey, bro,
Atreyu.
we're like two guys running through the swamp of sorrow. Okay, like if you sink, I gotta pull you up, and when I start to sink, you pull me up. You know,
All right.
and that's
That's a
how
pact.
it is, man. You've done it for me before, where you've pulled me out of the swamp of sorrow. So you know I'm always, you know, depression and anxiety never go away, man. You you
Yeah.
you know, so you got to fight the evil forces that are out there. All right, my
Thanks, Butch.
brother.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
dude.
Twitch listeners,
Fuck
Facebookians,
yeah. Thank you for
watching this
everybody being
later.
here.
Give Butch
Uh,
money.
give us both money, because whatever proceeds go to the Venmo at Butch Escobar. They will go towards the podcast. For whatever reason.
Yeah, we want to upgrade.
We want to upgrade.
Yeah.
I need
I
more.
need a,
I need
I
more
need a
bumper stickers behind me.
4K.
Um.